Hey, better late than never. It is 7:17 on Thursday, May 2nd. Boogie with the Bull Thursday Night Live is on a device screen somewhere near you. Today is the long awaited interview with Robert Angel Little. Some fascinating information coming. And as usual, our interview of the stars, Jen Woodruff, will take over and moderate tonight's interview. So, in other words,
Okay, thank you, Dave. This is great. How exciting. Nice to see you, Robert. Okay, this story
Thank
starts
you.
out.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you very much for allowing me to express my views and to be part of your show. And I'm sure all of us are going to be able to work together in the spirit of solidarity when it comes to all the events that are happening today around the world and in the United States.
Right, that's good. Okay, but I wanted to start off by talking about the Romanian Revolution, and this starts, and well, I think it starts way before 1989, but all of the exciting things happen in 1989. Okay, it started when in 1974 when what is the guy and his wife's name? How do you say that, Robert?
Nikolai and Elena Ceausescu.
Yes, and they're the new dictators. And what um really bothers me about them, it's almost like silly how dictators do this and they just repeat the same everything. I mean, he had everything he did was insane. He made a monument to himself of himself at the people's expense. And it reminded me a lot of Barack Obama. Now, he did not make a statue of himself, but he did he went
Not
around
yet.
and oh gosh, you're right. But he went around and he said which monuments were good as far as civil rights were appropriate. And so he went around and did this huge tour about that. And then he goes to Mount McKinley in, was it Hawaii or Alaska? I think it's Alaska. And he goes there to rename it because he can. And I thought, what's he going to do? Rename it Barack Obama's Mountain? I don't know what he did, but I remember when that happened. But anyways, okay, so this guy and his wife are here, and they start out by saying they're gonna pay off the debts. They're gonna pay off foreign debts, and it was which they've always done anyways. But I guess things were so bad, and I loved the story you were telling me about how they were having billboards put up about everything is import or export. What were tell me about that, Robert? How was the country making money?
Well, uh, the country of Romania, you have to take a look at a little bit, from the historical point of view. In 1947, they abolished the monarchy, and communists took over with the help of the Soviet troops. The Soviet troops occupied Eastern Europe, including Romania, less Yugoslavia and Albania, for quite a long period of time. As a matter of fact, Romania did not have any more Soviet troops after 1965. Yugoslavia and Albania already broke up, with the Warsaw Pact, and one of them, Yugoslavia, joined the non-aligned movement, while Albania joined China, if you can imagine that. But Soviet troops were all over Eastern Europe except Romania after 1965. Bulgaria, Hungary, Poland, East Germany, and Czechoslovakia, they were still occupied by Soviet troops. Not to mention that there were still Soviet soldiers in the former Soviet republics after the breakup of the Soviet Union in 1991, 1992. Now, Romania between 1947 and 1965 went through a lot of political turbulences. They did not have a very specific government between 1947 and 1955 because of the so-called civil war that was taking place at the time between the Romanian factions that did not want to accept communism and of course the government forces. By 1955, the last man was either killed or he managed to escape. We do not know yet. It's still a mystery, from that perspective. But we do know for the fact that in 1955, a new government came into place under the leadership of Gheorghe Gheorghiu Dej, who was basically the spiritual leader of the Communist Party in Romania.
Wow.
10 years later, he basically went to Moscow and had a conversation with the then premier of the Soviet Union, Leonid Brezhnev, and with the foreign minister, Andrei Gromyko. And he specifically told the Soviets that there is no more need for Soviet troops to be on Romanian soil. Since we're surrounded by communist buddies and friends, there was no need for the Soviets to be there anymore. Obviously, Brezhnev was thinking about that kind of idea. It was no problem, but at the same time, he wanted to make sure that they would stay in control. And Dej told him he's got nothing to worry about. Well, Dej's stamina, basically, kind of pissed off Brezhnev. And Brezhnev said, you know what, this guy's dying anyway. We need a new government in Romania. So there are reasons to believe that Dej's private room in Moscow was filled with radioactive uranium bars, that kind of sort of thing. When he came back, he developed a cancer that was incurable. So then there was an infighting within the Romanian government at the time of who's going to be the next leader. Eventually, Dej died. He had a military honorary funeral. And the result of the infighting in the Romanian government brought a winner under the name of Nicolae Ceausescu. Now, Ceausescu was just the Secretary General of the Communist Party. He had no other functions within that government. There were two other guys that were more important than him: the Prime Minister of Romania, Ion Gheorghe Maurer, and the Ministry of the Interior, George Apostol. Now, these two guys were quite older than Ceausescu. As a matter of fact, Ceausescu was the youngest one out of the whole Romanian Politburo, or the Romanian Congress. And they said, I was like, well, this guy is inexperienced. He did show some balls during, the war when they were in jail and all that kind of stuff. But then they decided to say, you know what? Let's let him prove what he can do. And if he's not going to be able to do it, we're going to dethrone him. Well, Ceausescu was a little bit more smart than these guys. So in 1965, he basically takes up the reins of the country as the Secretary General of the Communist Party, which meant nothing at the time. Eventually, he has his very first international trip. And guess where he decided to go? Prague, the capital of Czechoslovakia. And that took place in 1968. He met with Alexander Dubček, the then leader of the Czechoslovak country. And from the perspective point of view of Dubček, he said that he was planning to implement or introduce communism with a human face. A lot of people didn't really knew what exactly he was talking about. But from some perspective point of view, including that of the KGB, this guy really wants to make the communist country a more freer country, just like Yugoslavia was. Now, obviously, Brezhnev knows for a fact that he could not afford to lose face among the world, allowing, the Czechoslovakians to be as free as the government of Yugoslavia was at the time under Josip Broz Tito.
Right.
So right after Ceausescu had that 3-day state visit, the Soviet troops and the Warsaw countries move in. And obviously everybody's stunned, including Ceausescu. I was like, what the heck is going on here? Now, obviously, because Romania was no longer having Soviet troops on its territory,
Right.
he said, I was like, wait a minute, I cannot go and invade. Yeah, he received an order from Moscow to send Romanian troops into Czechoslovakia, just like the other countries like Poland, East Germany, Bulgaria, and Hungary. And he says, like, I just had a visit with that guy. I mean, everything went okay. I shook hands with him. I was about to start, some economic trade with him, even though Romania and Czechoslovakia do not touch each other, at the time, as far as territory is concerned, they were still able to do it, by plane and whatever other means.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, I'm not going to attack, but you should leave them alone. So, technically speaking, Ceausescu comes in front of the Central Committee building in front of hundreds of thousands of demonstrators, and he made his very famous speech that made him a celebrity within the communist world and in the Western world. And he said, and I quote, "The invasion of Czechoslovakia by the 5 Warsaw Pact countries constitutes a great danger to the peace in Europe and to the destiny of socialism around the world." Considering that statement that he made, everybody was shocked. And I'm talking about everybody, including the United States, including China, including whatever you can think of. Even the non-aligned movement was, watching the events, pretty close. So
now there is a
the
speech
Soviet-
he does, not this one, but there is one. It's coming, I know, where he gets laughed at and booed. Everyone's frustrated with him. That doesn't happen yet, right? He's right now. He's liked, and people are trusting him. Correct?
yes, they do boo him, but this one is taking place in
Not.
1989.
Oh, okay.
So the 2 speeches that made history in Romania's communist period was the 1968 and 1989.
Okay, thank you.
Now, of course, you have everybody, being entangled up into the whole situation today with what's happening here in the United States has taken place in Romania or any other socialist communistic countries. The question is, how did that happen and what's going to happen? Technically speaking, I wrote a book in regards to the way socialism was in my home country between 1984 and 1990.
Right.
And my book explains everything that everybody needs to know about everything that we had, how education was, how our daily lives were. I also wrote it from social, cultural, economic, historical, and political point of views. I did not try to make a major political statement out of my book. My book is still considered today part of the genre of history or personal memoir, but it has quite a few sub-understandings there that when it comes to whistling or whistleblowing socialism, you can make up your own mind, when it comes to that. So going back a little bit, to Ceausescu, as the Soviets already moved into Czechoslovakia, they were prepared to move into Romania. Now, the governments of Bulgaria and Hungary, immediately they were called by the government of Yugoslavia, who at the time was ruled by Joseph Broz Tito, a World War II hero. And technically speaking, this guy tells both Sofia and Budapest, you guys invade Romania, I'm going to bomb your capitals, which are within bombing range of my missiles. So the Bulgarians and the Hungarians are staying put. The Soviets decide to actually make the move. They made a move basically, in one of the wrong spots that they could actually think of. I mean, Romania and the Soviet Union at the time, they had a major long border that was about 1,500 kilometers. 1,500 kilometers is at least 1,000 miles. And so the Soviets decided, actually, because they were already bogged down into Czechoslovakia, they decided to move some of their tank divisions from Czechoslovakia and send them to Romania to the closest way that they could get through. And that place is called today Cosmos Forest. Now, Cosmos Forest in history is known to be just as similar as the Ardennes Forest in Belgium. Before World War II was going to knock on the door of the Belgians, and the French never decided to put up, an elongation of the Maginot Line that would incorporate, territory, as far as like adjacent to the Ardennes.
Right.
Well, the Germans moved in. The tank-proof forest didn't seem to be so proof. The Soviets did the same thing, but this time around, the Soviets did not calculate correctly, and the Cosmos Forest, being so dense, kind of really messed up their whole maneuverability. Eventually, they made it into Romanian soil, obviously with huge losses. They had to leave behind quite a lot of tanks because those trees would not budge. And then there was a fighting in northern Romania that lasted for about a couple of months. Now, this fighting was fought just among tanks and whatever technology existed at the time. After leaving behind 5 divisions of rubbled tanks, the Soviets retreated with a tail between their legs. Later on, they said that Romania used unconventional weapons. Now, we have to think about it for a second. What do we mean by unconventional weapons in 1968? Between the two countries, the Soviet Union and Romania, only the Soviets had nuclear, chemical,
Right.
bacteriological capability. Romania didn't have anything like that. So we cannot talk about the Romanians to actually have the nuclear bomb because we didn't. As a matter of fact, I make a small quotation here from Ceausescu. We have the capability of building the atomic bomb, but we are not going to because we don't want to. First of all, we don't have a place to detonate one. We're all surrounded by friends. And on top of everything else, for what? I mean, there's no reason for us to have it. Yeah, Romania was able, and probably still is today, able to build such a device. We do have the technology. We do have the necessary uranium. As a matter of fact, the thermonuclear hydroelectric power at Chernavoda is producing both light water and hard water. And as we all know, hard water is needed in order to make the nuclear fission correct. If anybody else has any totally different opinion about that, I'm welcome for criticism. Trust me, you won't have any. Now, the thing is, what were the other conventional weapons? Well, it's specified mostly after reports later on, even including what my father had said. My father was part of the tank battle in 1968. He himself being a corporal on a tank. And he said, and I quote him, I was like, Robert, to be really honest with you, I don't know it myself, but I do believe that some sort of a laser beam was taking place because he made this noise, he made this fascicle of light, and all of a sudden it came dark, and next thing we know, some tanks are melted down. And I'm like, what the hell just happened there? Was that the hand of God or the hand of Allah? I mean, I don't know. But it just happened.
Wow.
So Romanians are like, yeah, baby, we won. We beat the Soviets. And Ceausescu's stemma, or his star, is starting to catch a boost. And everybody loves him. I mean, we're talking about Nixon. We're talking about the non-aligned movement. We're talking about the Chinese. So Ceausescu starts his world tour. He comes to Washington, he goes to Belgrade, he goes to Beijing, he goes to Pyongyang, North Korea, and then whatever other countries. He was looking also to not only just to make friendships, to have strong ties, but he was also looking for an economic output. The country of Romania, excuse me, after the Soviet occupation ended in 1965, Romanian economy was not one of the greatest. It was pretty much left in shambles. Why? As I was telling Jen in one of the private conversations that I had with her, the Soviets, wherever they went, whatever they occupied, they took everything. And I mean everything. I mean, they even took the river's bricks and rocks and everything else. They dismantled factories and sent them to the Soviet Union. During World War II, Russian Cossacks. I don't know if you know what a Russian Cossack is. I can tell you it's a soldier that has some very intricate type of costume and is fighting on horse with a sword in his hand and has no idea whatsoever about anything as far as culture is concerned. To give you an example, if a Russian soldier would see you with a wristwatch on your hand, he would tell you the very famous expression "davai watch," "davai chas," which in Russian means "give me your watch." You give him your watch, he takes it away from you, and he leaves. He doesn't say thank you. He doesn't say goodbye. If you don't give it to him, he'll shoot you, and then he takes it off your hand and moves on. Soviet soldiers had their arms filled with watches everywhere they went in Eastern Europe. They stole everything because they didn't have it back home. They were so primitive. They didn't know what a watch was. Not to mention a few other things. They also stole furniture. Okay. After the 20-year occupation of the country, the Soviets are out. Romanians are like, man, when these guys come over, they're like the Mongols. They steal everything. They leave ruins behind. So we're going to have to rebuild our country. Well, eventually, with the natural resources that Romania has, Ceausescu has been able to open up the soil to look for natural resources: coal, iron, manganese, gold, silver, you name it. Whatever Romania doesn't have, they have to import, and you have it from there. Now, as he was doing his world tour, some of the countries did not receive him because they said, hey, you're just the Secretary General of the Communist Party. You do not represent the people. You're not a prime minister. You're not a president. You're not a king. You're not anything like that. So we can't discuss with you. Okay, Ceausescu in 1974 made himself president of Romania. With all the investitures, he actually now becomes the representative of the Romanian people out there. After 1974, Romania's status economically has improved. We had the most favored nation status, which, what does that mean? It means that Romania is able to do business with everybody around the world at lower percentage prices and the best markets that you can think of. I mean, we're talking about the European Common Market. We're talking about the North American market, the South American market, African, Asian, I mean, everybody. So Romania is basically the number one dog in there.
Right.
Gerald Ford, the successor of Nixon, also renewed most favored nation status, and Jimmy Carter. By 1980, though, there's a new guy in power in Washington, D.C., and his name is Ronald Reagan, a former actor. Now,
Right.
this former actor decides to cut down the most favored nation status of the Romanians, and
That was
now he's forcing Ceausescu to pay its credits, its loans, which by 1982 they mounted to $11 billion. Now you can imagine, $11 billion is a sum for 1982. It would be
wow.
something similar to probably maybe 55 billion today or more. So Ceausescu could not get any more loans from the IMF, could not get any more credits from the International Monetary Fund. He tried to sell a million pounds of strawberries to the British to buy one airplane. If you can imagine that. He tried to barter.
That's funny.
The
That's
British
funny.
didn't take that into consideration, gave him the finger. So Ceausescu said, okay, they don't want that. I'm going to build my own airplanes. I'm going to build my own economy from within. But how he did that was unimaginable for millions of people. While everybody else in the communist countries around Europe were trying to figure out how to escape the yoke of communism, like the Polacks did in Poland with the Solidarity movement, Ceausescu decided to build its own economy on the people's toil, sweat, tears, and whatever else you can think of. Don't get me wrong, he put us to work. He reformed education. 1984 was the year when I became commander-in-chief of my school. It's something similar you guys would call here as class president,
I see.
but with totally different ideas. Jen, once you get the book and you start reading it, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about.
Thank you.
Matter of fact, this is the book right here. I'm also going to post it on both Red Patriots of America and the Conservative Group. Once again, for people who might be interested in getting a copy, you can either get it straight from me. I can mail it to you if you send me a check, or you can get it off Amazon.com. I tell you straight, plain and simple, Amazon does make the sales. My publishing company does not report the sales, which pisses me off. So to make it more, interesting, if you want to get it cheaper off Amazon, go ahead. I don't have a problem with that. At least you have it, but you don't have it autographed. If you want to send me $50 check, I'll send it to you right away, so there's no problem there. Coming back to the whole thing, for the next 7 years, between 1982 and 1989, Romania was working 24/7, 365.
Wow.
I remember my parents were going to work 7 days a week. Well, my dad used to work at the airport as an electro technician. My mom was a tailor. While me and the other siblings were going to school, the economy was redressing itself, but here came the major problems that we actually had to deal with. And if we're looking at what happened in Romania in those times, we can also bring into consideration Orwell's 1984.
Wow.
And the events that could actually lead to Agenda 2030 that they have in mind, that the elites and the globalists have in mind for us right now.
That's scary.
Yes, it is very scary, Jen. I am not going to BS anybody. Whatever Orwell wrote in 1984 and everything that I had experienced in Romania between 1982 and 1989 is going to be implemented here in the United States.
Wow. And bringing the WHO in as our health providers or our
That will be one
like
other major step. Now, remember, if everybody is aware of the fact that there is a new world order in place, yeah, it started after the end of the Cold War in 1991-92 with the collapse of the Soviet Union. There
interesting.
is a new world order that has been taking place ever since then, but they had a few stages that they needed to take care of and complete thoroughly. The
Hmm.
very first stage was to get rid of all the communist regimes around the world.
Oh,
That didn't work. It worked in Europe, but it didn't work anywhere else. Look at China, North Korea, Vietnam, Nicaragua is still communist. Yes, believe it
wow.
or not. Their leader, Daniel Ortega Saavedra, is still in power. Yeah, he was in power for like 20 years, lost it for a few years. Now he's back there again. Imagine that. Cuba,
That's
it's another example. So, getting rid of the communism, especially in Europe. Then, part two, they wanted to get rid of the non aligned movement. And in order to make an example out of that, take a look at what happened to Yugoslavia. Because Yugoslavia was basically the founder of the non aligned movement. A lot of people are going to ask themselves, what the hell is the non aligned movement? Well, I can tell you, they were neither with the Warsaw Pact or with NATO. They didn't take sides. They were neutral. It was called a non-aligned movement. And
wow.
there were a few countries that were part of it. There was Yugoslavia, Indonesia, India, Pakistan, believe it or not, Israel, South Africa, Brazil, Argentina, Egypt, Morocco. Oh, there were a lot of countries. Now, in order to make an example, to tell them, hey, if you're not with us, by definition, you're against us, look at what we're going to do to Yugoslavia. And you can imagine from one very powerful country, now we have what? Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, Montenegro, Serbia, Macedonia, Kosovo. You got 8 countries out of one. Well, most of those countries now are part of NATO. You got Slovenia, Croatia, you got Montenegro, you got Macedonia. Kosovo, Bosnia, and Serbia are not there yet, but Kosovo has UN peacekeeper troops, and you can already imagine what that means. They're not too far away from NATO.
Gary.
So the land connection of all the territories in Europe, with some exception, of course. For example, Ireland is not part of NATO. Sweden, they're talking about bringing them in. Switzerland is not part of NATO. Liechtenstein is not. A lot of other small countries like Andorra and San Marino, they're not part of it. But most of them are. I mean, even Albania joined in 2010. So the circle is now complete around the Russian Federation, which we can discuss that in a few other shows
Another
if
show.
necessary.
Sure.
Now, they are going to implement the same things that we had in communism in order to control us, in order to subdue us. For example, one of the things that the communists, especially Ceausescu, did in the 1980s was reducing the energy, your electricity, by 50%. And when I say 50%, I mean 50%, not 15%. Can you imagine having your electricity being shut down with that much amount of time per day, per week, per month, per year?
No.
No, you would not be able to imagine something like that. But guess what? They do have that in mind. All they have to do is shut down the power grid, and we are history. We can no longer cook our food in our microwave. If you have a gas stove, or it might be lucky. But refrigeration is going to be a problem. You're not going to be able to charge your phones. You're not going to be able to read a book by the, lamp unless you put some gasoline in it or, light up a candlestick. Because that's
Wow.
exactly how I did my homework. Yeah, at a gas lamp or a candlestick.
And
So,
you know what's crazy is they're also trying to implement these electric vehicles. Poor California, they have to choose right now between air conditioner in their house, electricity so they can see what they're doing, and if they want to charge their electric vehicle. It's insane. I don't understand how
well,
they're going to do this to a whole country.
the electric vehicle, it's a
Hmm.
government plan imposed, not voted in
Nice.
by the guy that we have in power that we call Joe Biden.
Hmm.
No. Joe Biden decided to put trillions of dollars in this Green New Deal, which, technically speaking, is going to bring us only disasters and disasters after disasters. I mean, think about it. What are the basic necessities that we need today? You see, as the prices have skyrocketed. I mean, I don't know about electronics. I haven't I didn't go to a Best Buy yet to see how much would be a new laptop because I really desperately need one. But I can see, as far as gasoline being up, I mean, $3.28. That's how much I pay here in Randolph, Wisconsin. Uh, Food. I mean, yesterday I went to the shopping to do some food shopping at the Piggly Wiggly, and a very small, I'm telling you, a very small sandwich, about this big, that thick, whatever. I mean, we're talking about maybe what, 4 inches by 5 inches by 3 inches, and it cost me $5.
For
Are you
one
kidding
bite.
me? I mean, what the heck is this? Yeah, I can get some sustainable, dietary proteins out of it, but $5 for that? I mean, $5 used to be a humongous
A
foot long
sandwich. Right.
sandwich. Yeah, you go to Pick and Save and you get it with everything, salami and tomatoes and whatnot. So the prices kept skyrocketing because of this new Green Deal. They want to put these cars onto the market, and let me tell you this, they're not very efficient. A lot of them have been burning up.
Right. Lithium.
Yeah, the guy
It's
puts in,
crazy.
like where you're putting, gasoline for your car, they put in that connector, so they can charge it. And yeah, the car stays there, it gets charged, and all of a sudden, if the guy doesn't get there, maybe he got too drunk into the bar and he's no longer be able to walk, comes out and his car is up in flames or
Wow.
whatnot. Yeah, I would not suggest anybody to go for a green car, for an electrical car. No, that's not going to happen. But they're planning to implement that, and they're planning to cut down on gasoline. They're planning to do a lot of the things that took place in my home country. They rationalize food. I'm telling you straight, plain and simple. The main reason the Soviet Union collapsed was because they did not invest into food.
Mm.
They were collecting their food from the Eastern European countries in exchange for natural resources like gas and petroleum. There were four major countries around the world who were selling wheat, to make bread, to the
Hmm.
Soviets: US, Canada, Argentina, and Australia. All these four countries were sending humongous tonnage of cereals to the Soviet Union. Look at what's happening today with the Ukrainian cereals. I mean, come on, man. Let's be honest about it.
Right.
All the European farmers cannot sell their wheat, but they have to buy the Ukrainian wheat so that war can keep on going. You mean to tell me that during the Soviet times, the Soviets did not have wheat in Ukraine? Ukraine is bigger than France.
Right.
as far as territory. By the time Mr. Putin is going to take over Ukraine, Ukraine is not going to be as big as France anymore. They're going to be a little bit shorter. And I don't blame that guy.
Mm.
Yeah,
Well,
Ukraine
I
will
wanted to
probably
ask
cease to exist. What's that?
how much, no, do you think the biggest thing, the biggest stopper to implement this new agenda or the new world order is our constitution? Isn't that a big stumbling block? And I
Yes,
wanted
it
to
is a big stumbling block, Jen, but let me put it this way. Ever since before or after Trump was in power, they were trampling upon the Constitution step by step. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it, but I know that I've
Yeah.
seen it. I know quite a lot of people have seen it. At the same time, this new world order was taking place. As I was talking about it, so they got rid of communism, they got rid of the non-aligned movement, then they started the Arab Spring. What was the reason to start with the Arab Spring? It was the reason to get rid. Yeah, it was part of the stage called getting rid of the thorns in the side. So who are these thorns in the side? Well, obviously, we already know one of them was named Saddam Hussein. Another one was Muammar al-Gaddafi. Another one was the leader of Tunisia. Can't remember his name. They also had to get rid of Hosni Mubarak, who was the leader of Egypt. They also had to get rid of Bashar al-Assad, who is the leader of Syria. Oops, he's still there. They were also planning to get rid of the guy who rules Iran, and his name is Mohammed Ali Khamenei, who took over as the spiritual leader of Iran after, what was his name? Ruhollah Khomeini passed away in 1989. They also wanted to get rid of the thorn in the side, which is called the Kim Jong-un, North Korea.
right.
Vladimir Putin is on that list, and possibly Xi Jinping as well. I mean, we're talking about a big list here. And how are you going to do that without wars?
Right. And I'm
Yeah,
sure
Syria
Trump
was
would.
engulfed into a civil war and everything like that. I wouldn't call Afghanistan to be a thorn in the side. Maybe they are. But look at what happened there. It was a debacle. I mean, Trump tried to do it, you know, the good way. Biden screwed it up. And now China moved in and Russia moved in to invest into the natural resources of Afghanistan. Yeah, up until now, all we had to worry about was opium and give the women of Afghanistan, you know, an education and freedom of speech and all that kind of stuff. And now that is gone. China moves in and they're going to suck everything that's natural resources out of Afghanistan, especially lithium that makes
Lithium.
car batteries. You get the picture now? There you go.
Yeah. Wow.
So, getting rid of the thorns, that's still probably going on right now. Trump won in 2016. He wasn't supposed to. He messed up their plans. Now they rigged the election in 2020. Whether I just made a political statement there or not, it's up to you. There is one last stage. And you brought it up, Jen. You're right about the WHO, the WHO, which
Wow.
this month, on May 24th, 2024, our Congress, along with all other Congresses around the world, they're going to meet within closed doors. Yeah, they're going to have closed doors on this one. Nobody's going to be able to get in there. Not even the media, not me, not you, not Trump, not everybody else. They're going to have closed door meeting and they're going to decide whether they're going to accept the mandates, the healthcare mandates of the World Health Organization, which is part of the United Nations.
Wow.
And our sovereignty
Is gone if that
will
happens.
be gone if they accept them.
Ooh.
Stage 4 is taking care of the necessities that everybody wants or needs. One, health. Two, food. Three, energy. I mean, look what's happening with the Green
Fuel.
Deal, right?
Wow.
Four, what else is there? Oh, living. The
Housing.
cost of living is exorbitant everywhere you look, except where I live. Why? Because the property taxes here are not that high, but eventually they're going to drive us out of here. I live in a very small community of 2,000 people, about 45 miles northeast of Madison, Wisconsin.
Mm.
I pay for one bedroom, utilities included, $450 a month. If I go
Wow.
45 miles into Madison, you know how much rent is there? It starts at 1,500 and up. Not to mention other places where they have 2,000 and up. Yeah, the
Wow.
farthest away you go from the major cities, that's where the small properties are. That's how much, as low as you can pay. I know California, it's a very exorbitant. I have a friend of mine who lives in the same apartment that I used to live in Hollywood. My mom and my father were paying $475 for a one bedroom in 1990. This guy now pays $900 for it. Yeah,
My
900.
gosh.
He pays double than what I pay. Well, he's been
Dave and
lucky.
I,
He lived
yeah,
there for about 25 years.
we were talking about this in another show, and we brought up the big three, which is the investors. What was this, Dave? It was Vanguard, BlackRock, um, State Street, and those three, they're the ones that want to buy all of our houses and make us renters. That's what's
Yes.
going on. We're all going to be. It's scary. That's what they want, and I
Well, here's the
always.
thing.
Mhm,
Here's the thing, Jen.
yeah.
As I said before, and a lot of people know, and I'm pretty sure Dave knows this as well, history repeats itself. It's not necessarily whether it repeats itself in Romania, in Togo, in
That's true.
Swaziland, in Bosnia, Russia, or United States. It don't matter. Something similar is going to take place. But right now, as you're saying, Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, whatever, yes, they're planning to take over our properties. In Romania, Ceausescu did one thing that pissed off a lot of people, of course. He wanted to make sure that he would eliminate everything that was private owned as far as a
Oh,
business or a property.
right.
And among those properties, we're talking about people who still lived in houses. Yeah, you lived in your own house, made out of brick or wood or soil or whatever,
Right.
You did not pay taxes on that. So he leveled all the places, all the lands around Bucharest. And wherever there were houses, he demolished them and built up apartment buildings. Now, the
Wow.
people who were living in those houses were now living in apartment buildings. Not as very comfortable as when they were in their own houses, but now they were paying rent to the government. Rent was cheap. Electricity, water, garbage was all included into that rent. I can tell you, in 1989, before the revolution exploded, I asked my dad, how much is our rent? And he told me, put together everything, including the parking spot that we do not have because we don't have a car. We have to pay 100 lei. Now, 100 lei transponded into American dollars at the time, you know how much it was?
No.
$5.
Oh, come on. I was gonna say
$5.
50.
No,
Wow.
no, 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 no. $5.
So he
Yeah,
could
that was our rent.
control.
What's that?
So he could control everyone. He had them where they
That's
wanted.
right. There
Cheap
you go.
housing.
And we also had a phone line which was tapped. Yeah,
Oh, come
our
on.
phone lines were tapped.
Oh, it's so
The same-
frustrating because I always go back to the Bill of Rights and to the Constitution. But if they're that powerful, good God, they can wipe that away so fast. It's scary.
well, that's the thing. And you're absolutely right. Yes, they are powerful. They have the means to do it. They're not going to do it all of a sudden. They can't do that because they're going to lose credibility among their own voters.
Right?
I mean, you cannot just let everything, okay, we're going to implement all of a sudden
Let it
dictatorship in
go.
the
Let it
United
go.
States. No, they're not going to be able to do that. I mean, you also have to probably realize this. You're American. I mean, I realized it, for a long time. How in the world are they going to be able to implement one of the most drastic measures in the United States? Of course, they have means to do that. But my question still remains. How are you going to take the weapons away from the people of the United States, where the last statistics stated that there are 125 weapons per person per capita at 1,000
Wow.
people? I mean, we're talking about a lot of weapons here. How are they going
Right.
to collect all that? They're going to send their people to your door? Yeah, some people say, yeah, they're going to do that. What are you going to do? Shoot them in the face, through the door? Yeah, okay, they should bring a good supply of body bags. Yeah, and then they're going to send in an army. Are you going to put up with an army? Oh, I'd rather die than give them my weapons. Okay, that's a good thing. Now, of course, there are ways that they're going to be able to do that. First of all, they're going to probably blockade and isolate your community. Nothing moves in, nothing moves out. Maybe you do have food and water supplies for the next 3 years. What are you going to do after that? You're going to have to break your way out, right?
Wow.
Yeah, they can shut down the power grid and you don't have electricity anymore. Yeah, people said, okay, I already thought about that. I'm going to have generators. But those generators still run on some sort of an energy, right? And it's called gasoline. Since
Wow.
nothing moves in, nothing moves out, you're not going to have gasoline anymore to power up your generator. You're not going to be able to power up your water pump. You're not going to be able to wash your behind or anything else. And you're going to suffer from dysentery and leprosy and God knows what else. Yes, they can do that. They're not going to do it right away. Now they're torturing us. No matter how you say it, no matter how you put it, they are going to torture us into submission. High prices on the food, high prices on the gasoline, high prices on whatever commodities there are, high prices on electronics, hell, high prices on the standard of living. And on top of everything else, that moron, Mike Johnson, who I thought was going to be a good replacement for the other guy, just approved another 65 billion aid to Ukraine.
Right.
Well, wasn't that the reason that you guys got rid of the other guy? Because you didn't
Exactly.
accept with him?
Exactly.
Yeah, this guy needs to go. So where's the
Right.
clout now? Yeah, I know. I see a lot of people, posting, stuff. It's like, there's 535 people into the U.S. Congress. We need to get rid of them all. Yeah, there's probably 3 of them that are good over there. The rest need
Right.
to go. Yes, we need to change our government. We're not going to do that by voting. Look at what
Right.
they did in 2020. So what's the
Right.
solution here? Of course, everybody knows what the solution is. They still want to go by the constitutional rights, which the other side keeps trampling on, and we have a circle. We go in a vicious circle without end.
You're
Of
right.
course, me, myself, I'm waiting for the second coming. I don't know. It could be 2048, 2049, maybe year 2100 when probably I'm no longer going to be here. Yeah, we're going to have the Antichrist coming over. Let's leave religion out of it. But still, you take in consideration everything that has been happening in the past, and they're planning to re-implement it right now. I mean, you saw what happened with COVID. They're trying to get rid of the population. A lot of people didn't comply. They're going to come in with Pandemic X. I was saying at the time, and this was back in February of this year, If they're not going to come up with the pandemic X between now and May 24th, they're most likely going to come with one probably before the 2024 election.
We
And if
call
they're
it.
not going to come with one before the 2024 election, we already know that the 2024 election may not take place because, based on what they have passed in 1973, it's similar to what they passed in 2001 after 9/11. The Act of 73, Patriot Act, was not put into the ballot for people to vote in, right?
They
No,
give
it
it a
was
good
accepted.
name. Right. They
What's
give it a
that?
good name. They give it a good name, like the Patriot Act, but do tell us exactly what it is because it's
Well,
not
the Patriot Act
to help
stood
us.
on Bill Clinton's desk for many years. We're talking about 1997 at least. Then in 1998, they came up with a movie called Enemy of the State. I mean, to be very honest with you, of course, a lot of people are saying, hey, man, it's a movie, it's Hollywood, it's some good action. Yeah, but the essence behind that whole action should tell you exactly that there might be a possibility that they could put that into effect. Bullshit. Yeah, bullshit. Okay. So in the movie Enemy of the State, they call it the Telecommunications and Privacy Act. Yeah. They were going to monitor the people. They're going to start monitoring the people. And at the end of the movie, Will Smith's wife goes, well, who's going to monitor the monitor of the monitors?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, they needed a major event for that bill to be put into law. And Bill Clinton left it on his desk by the time he was out of the office without being approved. Now, it's one of those good things that maybe Bill Clinton has done while he was in the office. Maybe one of the few.
Hmm.
Because in 2020, 2000, in the year 2000, excuse my stumbling there was an election that was very much contested between a guy named Bush Jr. and Al Gore. And it took the Supreme Court to decide. Okay, fine, no problem there. But the Patriot Bill is still waiting to be signed into law. So they were looking for a pretext. They needed a reason, a very powerful reason for that to come into effect.
Hmm.
And if I'm not mistaken, that event came over. 9/11. Oh, man. Oh, we're going to start a war against terrorism. My question at the time was the following: we're going to wage war against terrorism? Are we talking about Islamic Jihad, Crimson Jihad, Hezbollah, Hamas, Sendero Luminoso, Tupac Amaru, Farabundo Marti, FARC, and all these terrorist organizations, Action Direct, Red Brown
How?
Shirts, Irish Republican Army? Yeah, they're
Right.
terrorists. Are we going to fight against all these guys? No. They
How?
chose to go into the Middle East, where the oil is.
To get their oil. Oh my gosh.
So they decided to go against Afghanistan because Afghanistan is suppressing all the rights of everybody. Look at what they're doing. The students of Islam are executing women for not wearing the burqa or for trying to say something that's intelligent. Boom. They go over there under the pretext saying, yeah, there's a guy, Osama bin Laden, who's been planning the destruction of America. Well, how do we know that he was not one of your agents, you dumb mothers? You know what I mean?
Right?
Yeah, later on, a lot of people say it's like, yeah, Osama bin Laden was probably an agent of the CIA or some imaginary guy. Yeah, he did exist. Probably that was not even his real name. So they go in Afghanistan and they bugged us down into a 20-year conflagration, if not more. Then, on top of everything else, hold on a second. George Bush Jr. has a vendetta against a guy named Saddam Hussein. That guy tried to kill my father. Well, under whose power you do that? The power of the United States, right? You're telling me that? Yeah, of course he had a vendetta, you know? So, obviously, you got these wars, interminable wars. They killed millions of, okay, let's not say millions, hundreds of thousands of Iraqis, hundreds of thousands of Afghanis from all the other ethnic groups that they have, Pashto, Tajik, Hazara, and whatever else is there.
Mhm.
What did we result? Condoleezza Rice. We have to apologize. We did not find weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Oh, really? No
They're
kidding.
hidden. They're hidden in Damascus, I swear it. But go on.
Well, I do know for a fact that whatever biological weapons Iraq may have had, yes, you're absolutely right. I really wonder where you got that info, where you got that intel. Yeah, they were moved into Syria before they moved in,
Right.
because you have to put one and one together. Bashar al Assad, Saddam Hussein, they do have something in common, even though they're both different when it comes to religious mentality.
Right.
Saddam Hussein is a Sunni Muslim. Bashar al Assad is an Alawite, which is an offshoot of the Shia Islam. But they're part of the same political party that in the
Right.
Middle East has been controlling their power for at least 40 years. And it's called the Ba'athist Party, which is the Socialist Party, basically. Yeah,
Wow.
you're right. Those
That's
no
crazy.
bacteriological or chemical weapons are now somewhere in Syria. We don't know where they are. Yeah, maybe they have used them, at Deir ez-Zor. Maybe they have used them, over Aleppo. Who cares?
No.
As long as they can get what they want. And you had Vanguard and you had BlackRock in Iraq. Yeah, they moved in. Look at what they did at Bagram or Barsa,
Wow.
the Iraqi prison and everything like that. Yeah, they decided to mess it all up.
Wow, this is
Yep.
well, this was great. We were going to talk about we kind of did start out with Romania, but I was trying to tie that all into basically what was going on with our constitution and what's going on, today in the United States, but globally, yeah, we've covered it all. It's true. That
Pretty
is
much.
just
There's a lot that we cover. There's no doubt about that. Is there anything else would you like me to tell about how it actually went into the revolution?
yeah, how did this start? Like, how did you know? You knew things were off, but what happened? Were there troops walking through your streets one day? Were there tanks going through the streets? Because there were
Okay.
cops. They were raping women. They were going into the house and taking whatever they wanted, and they had that whole secret service. It was
Okay.
crazy. What tipped you off?
Okay. Here's the thing. As the country was seeing its day-to-day life, Ceausescu, besides trying to build up the country and
Hmm.
pay his debts to the world, rationalizing our energy, rationalizing our food, and whatever other things. In the meantime, his secret service was among us. They were listening into our conversations over the phones. They were also making sure that you had no assembly around, no more than four people, three, four
Right,
people, together.
right, right.
Religion was suppressed. They had their own men, like Orthodox priests, spying on the people who came to confess. Ask them, so what'd you do? Well, I said this, I said that. Was there anything else involved? Yeah, I blamed the government for it. Boom, they took him to jail. So the machine apparatus for controlling the entire population was in full swing from all aspects. Yeah, they would take you to the police station. Hey, you said this against the government. We have information. Whether you said or not didn't matter. You still get your ass whooped. Maybe put in jail. Who knows what
Right.
else? Depending on the gravity of the situation, it was a rare moment when they would execute you. For example, there were five guys who knew each of these five guys knew one particular subject. One of them knew chemistry, one of them knew physics, one knew mathematics, another one knew industry, another one knew hydraulics. These guys worked together to build up a pistol. Can you imagine in Romania to build up a pistol?
It's
It was
powerful.
very
I'm
much
sure.
easier, if you think about it, as I try to give some of the Romanian people, an information
Right.
today of how to take over their government, but they don't want to do that because they're cowards. Yeah, you could still jump the cop, five guys jumping a cop, grab his weapon, and there you have your pistol. But no, these guys wanted to build it up on their own. They almost succeeded it. Yeah, they build up the pistol, they also build up the bullet. What were they planning to do with that? You can easily use your imagination on that. By the time somebody talked, somebody probably whistled, a little bird told them something. They got arrested. They did not get executed. They got freed after the revolution. But there was that moment in time when it was quite an achievement and at the same time quite a scare for the regime, for the Secret Service.
Wow.
They were everywhere. In high school, in my high school where I went to, it's in the book, by the way, they had a lot of party members as far as teachers. And because those party members, a lot of them were old, they had a guard with him. Yeah, they had personal guards. And these guards were part of the Secret Service.
Right.
And they were there to make sure that, even specifically in a classroom called The Knowledge of Social Politics. Yeah, that was the name of the period that we had. We had Secret Service guys in there.
Monitoring your classes.
Yeah,
Oh my
monitoring your class because it's a political class. They wanted to know what you say,
God.
what you think, whatever. And if you would have said something that they didn't like, write your name down or even take you, to the chancellery and said, hey, he said something against Ceausescu or screw the Secret Service or whatever. No, guess what? I asked to be excused. I needed to go take a piss. So I asked, hey, can I go to the restroom? The guy came from behind and give me a smack over the back of my head. You're going to stay here. I don't care if you piss on yourself. You're going to listen to this class, to the teacher. You're not going anywhere. Yeah, I was not even allowed to go take a piss during that period, which was an okay thing. Most of the teachers would allow you to do that.
Right.
Yeah, can you imagine that? I was like, so obviously I'm like, okay. I told my dad. Dad said, there's nothing I can do. These guys can do whatever the hell they want. Some of my comrades, some of my classmates did not take that so easily. One of them, who happened to be a boxer, yeah, he was a boxer in his own free time, he struck one of the teachers. I mean,
Oh,
he had enough. Yeah, she kept hitting him in the back of the head with a catalog or with a book or something. This guy had enough one day. He got up and smacked her right in the face. I mean, you can imagine. I mean, she's flying a few feet backwards, obviously falls on her back, bleeding all over, starts yelling, and next thing you know, the Secret Service is walking inside that room. What the hell happened? Well, he struck a teacher. So obviously, you're under arrest. This guy doesn't give a shit about being, under arrest. Smacks these guys too. Now, hitting a Secret Service guy, it's a serious offense. I mean, striking a teacher was a serious offense, but Secret Service, even worse. Well, the guy just went home. He got suspended. They came over to his house. I don't know what happened over there. But what I do know for a fact is that for 1 week, he was suspended from school. Then he came back and he put up a notification on the billboard, next to the chancellery. If anybody's going to hit me again out of the blue with anything, I'm gonna hit back. They should have taken that warning into consideration, but as they say, we do not negotiate with terrorists. Things took a much more serious debacle, more serious problem. Secret Service got involved, and you can understand. Teeth were broken, blood was everywhere, people winding up in hospitals. I mean, you're basically having a rebellion. I mean, the students are hitting back. Among them, one of my comrades, God rest his soul, John Bell. He's mentioned in the book, parts 2 and 3.
Wow.
This guy is a son of a butcher, and this guy is not taking any bullshit from anybody except his own dad, because he knows that his own dad whoops his ass all the time. Well, in school, he was like, I'm not gonna take any crap from any of these guys. Next thing you know, we're outside during our break, 4 or 5 of us talking, whatever, even probably were 6 guys there. We're talking, blah, blah, blah. We're having fun. We're telling jokes. Here comes the secret guys. You need to disperse. No more than 4 people in the group. John Bell
As you
looks
were
at him.
some? Oh my God. You're right.
Yeah, John Bell looks at him and was like, "Why don't you go f yourself? We're during our break and we're telling political jokes." I mean, this guy doesn't care. He just says it properly. What political jokes? Next thing you know, both those Secret Service guys are down on the ground, and I'm like, "Holy smokes!
My gosh.
What just happened?" And this goes on and on for a long period of time. Eventually, the conflicts, died down. One of my friends also shut down the electricity inside the high school. Can you imagine teachers, conducting their classes in darkness?
Someone's in trouble. That's for sure.
Yeah,
We need
someone's
to
in
know.
trouble. He didn't say they couldn't find them or anything like that. Classes are suspended, for the rest of the day. Everybody goes home.
Right.
Of course,
We need to.
electricity was shut down, but in high schools they had to keep them on. I mean, in hospitals they had to keep them on because people needed to
No
do
kidding.
surgeries, give
Right.
births and stuff like that. Yeah, well, this guy decided, you know what? I'm gonna shut down the electricity. I found out later who it was, and I was like, how the hell did you do that? Oh, with ease, it's not that hard to shut down the electricity in the high school. I'm like, okay, I'll take your word for it. It just kept on going. Now, with all the economic hardships, with all the colds that we had to live with in our apartments, with everything that I just described, when we heard about the Tiananmen Square events, John Bell was saying, only a revolution will bring these guys down, these leeches down. And I looked at him and I was like, hey, man, how the hell are we going to do a revolution? I mean, did you see that guy in Tiananmen Square defying that tank? Do you see yourself do that? I mean, I know you're supposed to be a bad mother, but come on, it's a tank. We don't have tanks. We don't have weapons. They can take us to jail anytime. They can beat the hell out of us. Look at what they did to that guy, the boxer guy. And we still don't know where he's at. Because, yeah, he disappeared. And he's like, yeah, and I'm still trying to figure out where he's at. Well, eventually, I got kicked out of the high school in October of 1989 because I refused to sign a paper that would have brought me into the Youth Communist Party. My high school director asked me, why can't you sign that piece of paper? And I told him, it's none of your business. First of all, I cannot. Second of all, I don't believe in that stuff.
Right.
Obviously, that was a big affront. That was an insult. What do you mean you don't believe in the Youth Communist Party? What the hell is wrong with you? Well, after everything that I've seen in the past year going on in high school, no, I don't believe in that stuff. I mean, who is it, the Secret Service guys, punching us because I want to go to the restroom and he tells me, that I can't, that I have to listen to the classroom. I mean, I really wanted to go, but he didn't allow me. I held it as much as I could. By the time, the breaks came up, I almost exploded, at the restroom. But that's out of the point. The point is, I cannot sign that because I don't believe in it.
Right. We need to know the name of your book, and can we have a link to that? Is it on Amazon?
Yes, you can find it on Amazon.com. It's where most of the sales have been going on through of all the internet platforms
Okay.
that have been selling it. But you're going to have to do the following thing. You're going to have to type in the name of the book, and right after that, you're going to put space and you're going to have to put in my pen name because there's quite a lot of few authors with that title.
Okay.
So it's Innocence Lost, then space, Robert, V as in Victor, space, Angel dash Little, A capitalized, Little capitalized with a letter L. So
Okay.
Robert V Angel dash Little. That is my pen name. There is a reason why I wrote it under pen name. One, security. Obviously, my mom is still alive. And two, I rather hear people say, "Hey, did you get a book by a guy named Angel Little instead of a guy I can't pronounce his last name?" Because trust me, just like Ceausescu, a lot of people will have a problem pronouncing my last name. I'm not
Right.
going to say what it is, but you guys understand that.
Right.
So, Innocence Lost, Robert V. Angel Dash Little. And if you're interested, you know where to find me. I have the same name that I have on the book. It's on my Facebook. So I have the same name there. You can message me and you can, ask whatever questions you have. You can see the blurb or the book description at Amazon.com. You can also see how many gold stars I got. I got at least 6 gold stars, if I'm not mistaken. I got some reviews as well.
Awesome.
Uh, that's pretty much all I can tell you right now. Personally, I have sold 245 copies and autographed every single one of them. Whoever
Awesome.
got their copies off the internet, they asked me if I can send them on a piece of paper, with my autograph on it. I don't have a problem with that. I do it, I mail it. There's quite a few people around the country that have done that, even around the world. Um, and like I said, if you really want to get a straight copy from me autographed, we can deal with a check situation. I only charge $50 for it. The publishing company established the price at $45. I don't think I'm going to get rich by asking you to put in extra $5 so I
I don't
can mail it
know.
to you. You know what I mean?
That's funny. That's
And that
great.
kind of sort of thing. For me, it's not about making profits on it. That was not my intention. My intention was to make sure that you, the readers, you, the fans, have the opportunity to read something that you have never experienced in your life. And I'm telling you,
Wow.
you're going to get a kick out of it. It's very self-explanatory. Of course, if you have questions, I can tell you more about it. There's a lot of people that are asking me questions even today. Matter of
Dave
fact,
has
one of
one.
my Facebook fans and friends, Matthew Meyer from Cleveland Heights, Ohio, is still asking me, "Hey, how is this going?" And everything like that. The other day, he was asking me, I was like, "Hey, I read about the parachuting thing, man. That was quite some interesting scenario right there." Yeah, there you go. That's what happened, that kind of sort of thing.
Awesome.
So they kicked us out of the high school. My father came over, said, "Yeah, he cannot sign that paper. We have the visa to enter the United States." He did not want to tell you that because I told him not to tell you that.
Oh wow.
So they kicked me out of
Okay.
the National Guard. They kicked me out of the high school. And about 2 months later, the revolution explodes. And at that point in
Okay.
time, I joined in.
Let me
Awesome.
just jump in and ask a question because Randy Rose asked, and I missed it in the scrolling live chat. Do you have any idea why our country wants socialism?
Do I have any idea why our country wants socialism? It's a very good question. Well, you have to see it from the perspective point of view of the political elites. They want to bring in socialism so they can divide us more. That's one. And two, they want to bring that into implementation because they're sick and tired of the people talking about the inequality when it comes to profits and money. I mean, obviously, for them, they want to keep us all in control.
Right.
As we know for a fact, there is 1% out there in the world controlling 99% of the entire world population. But in order for them to even get what they want, I mean, they want everything and they want you to be miserable. They want all of us to be miserable, as a matter of fact. All of us, the cream of the society, the taxpayers, that kind of sort of thing. They want to bring in socialism because they don't want people to have their own private ownerships. They want to destroy the middle class. Whoever is owning something that the government cannot tell, cannot force upon, they have a problem with that and they want to get rid of them. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Bringing in socialism, obviously, it's one of those things where you can say, hey, you know what? I don't want to deal with these problems anymore. I want to make sure that everybody's going to be happy when it comes to healthcare. They're not going to be. I can guarantee you that. Um, they want to make sure that nobody's going to start complaining about the inequality as far as like the super rich and the super poor. Nah, that's going to keep continuing. One of the very important things that I always wanted, from the perspective point of view of socialism, was education. But here's the catch. I wanted to have a socialistic type of education the same way I had it back home. And I gotta tell you, it's second to none. But here in the United States, you're not going to have that because they don't want smart people. They want to deal
Right.
with morons. Yeah, you have the same schedule every day. I was asking Jen when she went to that private school of hers, what kind of schedule did she have? And she told me that every single day, 8 hours, they had the same classes every day, Monday through Friday. Well, we didn't have stuff like that in socialism. Monday, we had 5 periods. Tuesday we had 6 periods. Wednesday we had 5 periods. Thursday we had 4 periods. Friday we had 5 periods. Saturday we had 3 periods. Yeah, there was school on Saturday. And every day was a different schedule. We learned about everything, about a lot of things. Yeah, even about American Civil War, American Revolution, the Reconstruction era after the Civil War. Yeah, we learned about all that. We learned about the United Kingdom and their revolution from 1648. We also learned about the Russian Revolution in 1917. We had to, obviously. It was part of our curriculum, it was mandatory, communist stuff. We read about a lot of revolutions: the French Revolution of 1789, the French Revolution of 1830, the French Revolution of 1870. Yeah, we learned about all that stuff. Did you guys learn about Romanian history dating back the Roman Empire? No, I very much doubt that. Because when you took world history in high school, possibly, in the ninth grade, you didn't start all the way down to Mesopotamia and the Persian Empire and the Macedonian Empire. No, you started straight with the French Revolution of 1789. Well, what the hell happened with all those years prior to that, man? We don't have time to cover it.
Cavemen, right?
Yeah, cavemen and everything like that. The Bronze Age, the Stone Age, the Paleozoic. No. They want to bring in socialism into this country so they can destroy capitalism, for one.
Yeah.
To get rid of the middle class, and to cap it all off, the most primordial thing, to control us.
Yeah.
All of us.
Brainwash and control.
There you go. I sure hope Mr. Rhodes gets an answer to that question. If he'd like, he can private message me, and I can probably even elaborate a lot more. But I believe that I gave him and everybody else the benefit of the doubt, that I gave them the right information, that it is what they're looking for. Technically speaking, they want to implement their 2030 agenda: one world, one government, one religion, one coin. Everything is one, controlled by them, and we are going to lose everything, and we're going to be happy, according to Klaus Schwab. So that's what.
That guy. We can't stand that.
That's
guy.
exactly what they want.
Klaus the Clown. Socialism is poverty for everybody, and you will like it.
And be happy.
You will like it. Yeah, you will be happy.
And be happy. Yes. Don't
yeah,
worry.
They take everything from us, and we're gonna be happy. Yeah, I really don't know how I'm going to be happy
don't
if
worry,
I'm going to
be happy.
Completely naked.
That's right. Don't worry, be happy. Because if you don't have it now, then you won't miss it.
Right? Oh my God.
Correct.
Robin Brunson, our coffee lady, asked, what is Robert's accent? It is a Romanian accent. He came here after the Romanian Revolution. And if you watch the beginning of the broadcast, you'll learn a little bit more. We could have Robert on so much that
it'll be fascinating.
We may have to add Robert. We may have to add Robert to the team and bring him on as often as he is available to do it.
I will be very happy to be here for whatever other shows that you guys still have in mind. I don't have a problem. I'm going to expose my point of view. Probably I'll be able to tell you about a few other things. Here's another thing that our watchers and listeners don't know about. I wrote an essay in 2015. That essay, I'm pretty sure, Dave, you did get it, right?
I did get it. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I don't know if you had any chance to read much about it, but that essay is about the new world order and its stages. What were they planning to do, and among other things. And back in 2015, a lot of people said, you're barking at the wrong tree. Okay, fine, no problem. I managed to convince a few people, hey man, this is what's coming, this is whatever. was like, Bob, I don't doubt your word. You know a lot more stuff. You can put everything one and one together. You follow the trends. You follow the politics. You've been doing that for the what? Yeah, I said since 1992. And I also added a little bit of geography and history lesson for everybody who might be interested about how Europe has changed since 1918 and up until now. I also put up some annotations in regards to COVID. If anybody wants a copy of that, it's for free. I'm not going to charge you anything. All you have to do is either contact me on my Facebook page, or if you like to give me your email and I'll send it to you by email. The name that I wrote in there, it's an Arabic Islamic name. It's also part of my agenda to cover my tracks. So don't be surprised if you see an Arabic name right at the top of it, because I wanted to make sure that the government is not going to track me down. You know what I mean? So yeah, that essay, it's about the New World Order and a few other things here and there. There's going to be a little bit of a history that a lot of people may never heard about, and that kind of sort of thing. But that's me. I like to make sure that I write down everything detailed to the most strenuous asset possible, so people really understand exactly what the hell I'm talking about. Because to some,
What the hell
hey
is
man,
he
is that
talking
English
about?
or what?
What the
You know what I
hell is
mean?
he talking about?
The hell are we talking about here? Yeah, it's like, well, you can make your own research, in
And
regards to
hey,
certain terms out there.
and hey, Robert, I have to compliment you on the broadcast tonight. You didn't drop one. You didn't drop
F-bomb.
one
Good job.
F-bomb. One
Yeah, well, thank
F-bomb
you.
the
I really
entire night.
appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, I try to make sure that that's not going to happen. I mean, I may have said an ass, or
Oh,
I
an
may have said a
occasional,
punk or anything like that. I mean, I abstain when I said mother, that kind of sort of thing.
the
So yeah,
occasional
but thank you.
F-bomb,
Yeah, you're
the
welcome.
occasional F-bomb is okay. We allow that.
Well, I try to make sure that I'm not
I,
going to put it that way.
I'm, I'm still convinced the running joke for almost 4 years now has been, I want the reel when Jen turns off connected to the broadcast. I want the reel that her husband Jesse keeps rolling for the 30 minutes after a broadcast that Jen decompresses, because I want to see how many F-bombs she can drop in like 3 seconds.
I was very frustrated this morning when my computer got possessed. But it's okay. I kept my cool.
Yeah.
If you would permit me, I like to tell you a joke.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure that everybody is going to understand it.
Okay.
From all aspects. I mean, this joke can be...
We do have about 10 minutes left, but go ahead and tell the joke.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure maybe a lot of you may have heard it before, but here goes. So little Jack goes to his daddy. Dad, how do things work around here? As far as our lives. I mean, what do we represent? Well, what are we, in this world for? Dad goes, well, son, let me put it this way. I'm the man of the house, so I'm the leadership. Your mother, who takes care of you, takes care of the money, inside the house, she's the government. Mary, who's our maid, cleans around the house, does other chores. She represents the working class. You go to school, you represent the people, and your little brother is the future. Little Jack was like, okay, Dad, thank you very much, whatever. He's still a little bit, clueless there. Goes to bed. During the night, he is awoken by his little brother, because he pooped his diapers. Little Jack doesn't know what to do, so he goes to mother. The mother is sleeping. He goes to the father. The father is screwing the maid. Eventually, he washes the little kid, and goes back to bed. In the morning, he wakes up, goes to Dad. Dad, I perfectly understood everything you told me last night. Okay, son, in your own words, you tell me everything. He goes, one, while the government is sleeping, two, the leadership is screwing the working class, four, the people are ignored, and five, the future is in deep shit.
Oh gosh. That's good. It's true. Good for you.
And it's exactly what happened back home. It's happening in this country right now. And if you don't agree with me on that, you know what to do.
Good job. Good job, Robert.
And on that note, Robert Angel Little announces his candidacy for President of the United States in 2028.
I'm
And
not
we
sure
knew you.
about that yet. I wasn't born in this country, but if they change the laws, I
No,
might.
you don't
They
matter.
should. They
They
should.
did for Barry. It's
All right,
I mean, they did it for
Robert.
Obama, right? You know?
They did. It has been a pleasure having you here, Robert. I think I will talk to you over the next few days, and we will bring you on to the panel as a regular on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. if you are interested. And in the morning, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it is 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you're interested in joining that, you are welcome. Jen joins us sometimes. She will be with us tomorrow morning. Everybody will be with us tomorrow morning because Bill Muckler, who has hosted the Bill Muckler Show here on Facebook for a while, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m., has retired to enjoy being 89 years old in the United States of America, having been a retired Marine captain, an entrepreneur, a well-known and respected author who just wrote his first novel, Six Soft Targets. So everybody is welcome to pop into the live chat tomorrow morning and ask for a link to come on and salute Bill, as well as
Well, if I do
everybody
wake up that
who.
early in the morning, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'll be able to join. Otherwise, I still
Okay.
like, these late evening shows.
That's okay.
No
Yep.
problem there. I'll be happy to chirp in. No problem there.
All right. If you can, you can. If you can't, we understand. So, Robert, I told you you get the first closing statement. Anything else you want to say? We will have you back. We will have you on more broadcasts. I think it's just
Well,
He's good.
I believe
the
I
story that
covered a
you
lot
need
of
to keep
things
telling.
except for the revolution. And of course, I wouldn't mind, getting a little bit into that, but we can probably do it some other time. But thanks again for being here on the show. I'm pretty
Yeah.
Thank
sure
you.
a lot of the people are probably going to contact me on Facebook. If not,
I
there's
hope
no
they do.
problem.
I hope they
No
do.
problem there. But thanks again for being here, and
Not a problem.
I'll wait for the next show.
All right. I will let you know.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
very
Robert.
much.
What we affectionately do is we call it the parachute. We send you on your way. So jump back. Don't attempt to do this at home. But we will be contacting you soon and have you back.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate
All
it.
right. Okay. Robert Angel Little, as he said, go to Amazon and type in Innocence Lost. That's the name of the book. It should come up. The author Robert Angel Little wrote the book. You heard a lot of fascinating stuff from him, and I don't know what Jen's next interview will be. I've tried really hard to find something for you in the
Oh, it's
coming
okay.
weeks today, and nobody that I talked to would commit to anything. So
That's okay.
I'm
I'm
working
excited
on
to
it.
be on. I'm excited to
Good.
be on the show tomorrow. That'll be great.
Yep. It's going to be fun. Bill will be here, and I don't know if he'll stay for the whole broadcast. I hope he does, but we would just have a lot of fun kicking around what we normally do and taking it in a new direction. And Fridays from now on, Friday morning at 10 a.m. is going to be everybody can jump on and be involved and laugh and cry and tell me to shut up.
And bring coffee. That'll be
Bring
fun.
coffee. Randy Rhodes wants you to bring donuts. Uh,
It's good.
so, how's Jesse doing? I was talking to other people that are in similar situations today, and it just made me think about
Fantastic.
how's Jesse doing. Good.
Fantastic. He battled cancer and he
Yeah.
fought it, and now they found out that the whole underlying problem of everything is the parathyroid, not the thyroid, but some little thing on top of the parathyroid. It's like a battery in a car.
Yeah.
It's one cell. It just has one little
Now
cell.
they didn't do anything like remove his thyroid and then find this
No,
out, did they? Okay.
no, no. It was
Cool.
all blood tests, and now
Yeah.
we have a plan, and we'll fix it, and it's awesome. Thank
Good.
you.
All right. We won't talk about cars tonight because I don't feel like talking about cars tonight. But if you're in Idaho in September, I think you're invited to a wedding. It's BYOB. We'll have more information about that.
Oh
About
my gosh, yeah.
about that later. I was thinking about going, but I'd have to wear a tux and sit here and do a broadcast.
No, you don't. That's funny.
All right, Jen. We will see you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Links go out at 9:45, and you get here whenever you want to.
Thank you so much. All right.
There's a
Bye.
handicap parking space available tomorrow if you need one.
If you need it. Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you.
All right, Jen. Jen Woodruff, the homeschooling mom. Always a pleasure to have Jen. Looking for someone who knows a whole lot about homeschooling. Jen is the person to talk to. She has homeschooled all 5 of her children, and they did pretty well. Youngest one, Juju, can't remember her actual real name, is going through her senior year right now and don't know what Jen will do after Juju graduates. David Navarre said, good show and good night to all. Thank you, David. Danny Campbell is watching, and Danny Campbell watched, and William Grant watched. And if I think about it very quickly, Danny Campbell is now 1 broadcast ahead of William Grant for the people who have watched the most Boogie with the Bull broadcasts in the history of Boogie with the Bull. And Melinda Brown 40 is getting close. Jane O'Malley is getting close. And if I actually think about it, Karen Hackley has probably watched more than everybody that I just named. But Karen watched, Melinda watched, Keith Pribble watched a little bit. Keith, if you're going to be in your studio tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, I'll send you a link. And please join us with Bill Muckler and Randy Rhodes. You also will get a link to be here because it's Friday and you're supposed to be here anyway. This is part of the broadcast where I say you have been watching Boogie with the Bull Thursday Night Live, a copyrighted presentation of the No Budget Broadcasting Company. We just do it because we like doing it. Equal airtime is given to responsible parties with opposing views, and if that's one of you, then email me and we'll talk about it later. Or watch tomorrow, and I'm sure we will talk about it. There may be a rare Saturday morning Boogie with the Bull around 10 o'clock Saturday morning. Still looking to see people that want to commit to it. And otherwise, the next Boogie with the Bull is Monday morning with me and Randy, unless other people tell me that they want to be on. I apologize that we were not on Instagram this evening. We did link to Instagram, and StreamYard confirmed that that link does in fact work. The only problem that we had is that we have to up our free Instagram account to the next level free Instagram account in order to be able to do that. So I will try to see about getting that done during the week. And Rumble, we will finish it up and get it all done and have it going over the week. And hopefully by Friday of next week, it will all be set up and going. It's easy, much easier to set up than I thought, but we're taking it slow. So that is who we are. That is who you are. Thank you for watching. Double B's for Victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast has come to an end at 9:01. We did start a little bit late, so we're actually on time for ending, but we did start a little bit late. Like I said, Double B's for Victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast has come to an end. Go to bed.